In our hectic lives, one thing remains constant: our need to support our loved ones back home. Whether it's funding for a sibling's education, assisting our aging parents, or investing in our homeland. But NRIs face a roadblock while looking for reliable methods to transfer money. Bank transfers, online platforms, mobile apps, the list is endless. And the fear of making the wrong choice makes it impossible to choose one. Don't worry, I have your back. In this video, I'll discuss the different methods of money transfers, the factors to consider while selecting a good money transfer service, and some common challenges that most NRIs might face. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to pick the best money transfer service. I have a special section for you in the end: real life potential scams. Ways to transfer money. Before we jump into how to choose a money transfer service, we must know the different ways to transfer money. Let's discuss them one by one. First, bank transfers. Bank transfers are secure and reliable to move your money. Bank transfers are normally quick for major currencies like US dollars and euros. However, they often come with a longer processing time for weaker currencies. Plus, their operating hours are not suitable for those who need urgent transfers. Pros and cons. Second, online platforms and mobile apps. While banks typically take 1 to 5 working days for international transfers, some online remittance services take only 30 minutes to 24 hours. However, online remittance services and apps come with transaction limits. For example, some platforms like Remit Money have a monthly limit of $5,000 for non-self transfers to Axis Bank. Meanwhile, online remittance services such as Wise offer flexible limits extending to $225,000 per financial year. Pros and cons. Third, money transfer agencies. With their wide network of agents, money transfer agencies can offer personalized assistance, especially for quick cash pickups. However, these services can come with higher fees, different exchange rates, and limited online accessibility. I hope by now you have some idea about the type of money transfer service you will pick. Say you decided to go with online remittance platforms. Well, there are several online remittance services. Which one will you pick? To answer this, we need some filters based on which we'll evaluate a money transfer service provider. Factors to consider when choosing a money transfer service provider. The first factor will be exchange rate and fees. Let's first talk about exchange rates. Exchange rates decide the value of one currency in terms of another. In other words, it helps you understand how much money the recipient receives in their local currency. Remember that exchange rates fluctuate based on market conditions and can impact the transferred amount. So you should opt for a provider that offers competitive real-time exchange rates. In addition to exchange rates, different service providers charge various fees. Let's discuss a few of them. First, the transaction fee. This is a flat fee for each transfer. Always inquire whether this is a fixed amount or a percentage of the transferred sum. Second, service fee. This includes the operational costs. You must ask your provider whether this is a one-time or a recurring fee. Third, processing fee. You must verify with your provider whether processing fees involves any premium for faster transfers. Fourth, exchange rate margin. The rates added for converting one currency to another by the service provider. So question and compare these margins among different providers to get the best value when exchanging currencies. Fifth, hidden fee. This can include intermediary bank charges or fees during currency conversion. Similarly, there might be an additional fees like withdrawal fees if the recipient chooses to collect the money in cash. When you choose a service provider that offers competitive rates and minimal fees, you save unnecessary expenses. Let's take the example of transferring, let's say, $10,000. So first off, let's talk about bank fees. If a bank charges a 3.5% fee, the fees would amount to $350. Next comes in service provider fees. On the other hand, a service provider charging 0.3% would cost just $30 in fees. So you can see the potential savings. NRIs could save $320 on this transaction by choosing the service provider over the bank. By choosing the right provider, you save massively on fees. That's why when looking for money transfer options, always ask and compare these fees across different providers to find the most cost-effective solution. Remember that even minor fees can combine, it all adds up to form a huge amount over frequent transfers. The second factor to consider while selecting a money transfer service is transfer speed. Imagine a scenario where a family member in a foreign country needs urgent financial assistance for a medical emergency. Every minute counts in these situations. Online transfers and mobile apps help transfer your funds in the blink of an eye. But what if your grandparents or elderly parents require money? They might not be at ease with fancy gadgets. For such individuals, in-person money transfer services are more suitable. While in-person services may not match the instant speed of online transfers, they offer quick access to cash. The third factor is security and reliability. If you trust your money to a money transfer service provider, you have to be sure that your funds are safe and that their service is reliable. The best way to avoid scams is to use only licensed service providers. Every country has a financial authority overseeing the regulations related to overseas money transfers. These sites have a list of licensed money transfer providers. You can cross-verify the provider's name on this list, or you can check your provider's license information. Customer reviews also help you filter the best money transfer service providers. Always read customer reviews and testimonials, or just ask your friends for referrals. So you might see reviews like, "I felt secure while sending the money, it reached safely and quickly." On the other hand, you also might read negative reviews as warning signs. If someone shares a bad experience, "My money got lost and customer support just didn't help," that is a big red flag. The fourth factor is customer support. Now, I want you to picture this. You encounter a problem in the middle of your transfer. There may be a delay, or you're unsure about the transaction status. What will you do? You will ask for help, right? This is where you call customer support, which provides immediate clarity. You can explain the issue and they can guide you through the process, offering real-time solutions. However, emails are helpful when you need to explain complex issues or share any specific transaction details. Plus, you have a written record of your conversation. Another customer support is the live chat option. Whether it's a phone call, email support, or live chat, having multiple support options at your fingertips shows that help is just a message or a call away. So when you choose a money transfer provider, always consider the response time and how easily you can contact their customer support channels. The fifth factor, transfer limits and options. Does having the freedom to send or receive money without limits sound impossible? I hear you, and so does a service provider. That's why money transfer services offer various options and limits to meet your specific needs. A bank transfer can be ideal for large amounts of cash. Cash pickup options can be a lifesaver for those who are not so tech savvy. On the other hand, mobile wallet transfers offer convenience. It's like sending a message on your phone. I know you think having various options is good, but what about the transfer limits? Well, different modes of transfers have different limits. First, bank transfer is ideal for large amounts, but the limit depends on the purpose of the transaction and local regulations. There are two ways in India to receive international money: Rupee Drawing Arrangement or RDA and Money Transfer Service Scheme or MTSS. Now for MTSS, the upper limit is $2,500. But you can only send money for your family expenses, not for investments or donations. Second, cash pickup, a lifesaver for the less tech savvy. The limits depend on the country and the provider. For Indian cash pickups, Wise has a maximum amount limited to 50,000 rupees. Third, mobile wallets. Here the limit depends on the receiver's bank. The best thing about having different options like mobile wallets, bank transfers, or cash pickups is that you can choose the one that works best for you or the person you're sending money to. After all, who doesn't like personalized options? The sixth and final factor is regulatory compliance. When you choose a money transfer service provider, always pick the one that complies with local regulations or anti-money laundering laws, KYC requirements, and other regulations, not just in your country, but also the country where the person you're sending money to resides. With this, I have covered the 6 common factors when choosing a money transfer service provider. To summarize, choose a money transfer service that's fast, cost-effective, transparent, and reliable. Always remember that your financial safety and peace of mind are important. That's why the next section talks about the common pitfalls to avoid that will help you understand the common challenges and the potential scams. First, exchange rate fluctuations. This is a common challenge that an NRI might face. Imagine you're sending money from the US to India. The daily change in the exchange rate impacts the final amount received. To avoid this, it's essential to keep an eye out on the rates and choose a service provider that offers competitive rates. Second, hidden fee charges. Remember how I mentioned a service provider can add additional fees? it's quite challenging to notice these charges as they vary from one service provider to another. I'll explain a few of them. Well, first, exchange rate markups. Providers may claim 0% fees, but make money by giving less favorable exchange rates, and the difference acts as a hidden fee. Second, receiving fees. Some providers charge fees for receiving money from abroad, but some may have small incoming transfer fees. Third, inactivity or account maintenance fees. Some providers will charge inactivity or account maintenance fees if the receiver's account is unused for a certain period of time. Fourth, third-party partner fees. Providers may use third-party agents. These third-party agents also charge fees for their services. Sixth, lack of full disclosure. Not fully disclosing all rates, fees, terms and conditions upfront. And finally, cancelling or modification of fees. Changing or cancelling a transaction also has some charges. These are not the only ones, as there are many hidden charges. To avoid unexpected deductions from your transferred amount, always read the fine print. Cannot stress on this enough, and choose a provider who's transparent with these charges. Now, coming back to our original list, third, delays with transfer times. It's quite frustrating when there's a delay, isn't it? Imagine the frustration when it comes to urgent money transfers, but the transfer takes unexpectedly long. How do you prevent such delays? Choose a service provider known for quick and reliable transfers. Also, consider both countries' time zones and working hours, as this may actually affect the processing time. Fourth, scams and security. Security is essential, especially during fund transfers. The scams can be in the form of emails or calls asking for personal information. This is a classic example of identity theft and unauthorized transactions. Always verify the sender's details and double check whether they're authentic or not. And never ever share your bank details with anyone, as banks will never ask you for your password or other important details. Fifth, documentation and compliance. When you send money, especially for education or medical emergencies, you need to submit the required documents like medical bills. It's like putting together a big puzzle where every piece, like admission letters and IDs, is vital. But to ensure your funds reach the right hands, you need to meet the requirements set by Anti-Money Laundering (AML) and KYC, which is Know Your Customer regulations. So submit all the required documents to avoid processing delays. Sixth, unreliable service providers. Last but not the least, stay away from unreliable service providers. Some of them might promise a low fees or amazing exchange rates only to cause delays in your transfer. Always do your research, read customer reviews, ask for referrals, read the fee structure and other details. There's one more challenge NRIs face while transferring money: scams. These scammers have quite a creative scheme up their sleeves, but don't worry, I've got you covered. Let's discuss some common scams. First, fake invoice scams. These scammers send invoices that look real and trick you into paying for things you didn't even buy. Imagine getting a bill that looks legit, but it's a trick to grab your cash. Second, phishing scams. Now imagine if you got an email that looks like it's from your bank and it asks for your account details. Guess what? It's a trap, because scammers use fake links to steal your personal information. So never give your personal or account information to unknown numbers. Especially because financial institutions don't ask for such details, and whenever you're in doubt, always contact the relevant institution to verify it. Third, wire transfer scams. Scammers exploit wire transfers and person-to-person payment services to collect money. Plus, the nature of such transfers makes it challenging to trace and recover the lost funds. The scams can occur through various means like fake online sales or fake investment schemes. It's like sending money down a black hole. It never reaches the destination. Fifth, grant and student loan scams. You promise grants or student loans, but there's a catch. They ask for upfront fees. Think of it like paying for a ticket to a concert that doesn't exist. Well, in that case, what can you do? Besides being informed, always verify before you pay, never rush into transactions, use trusted platforms, enable a two-factor authentication system wherever possible, and keep personal information secure. This is how you keep your money where it belongs, in your pocket, not in the hands of scammers. This brings us to the end of this video. Let me help you with the key takeaways. Before choosing a money transfer service provider, remember these 6 factors. Number 1, exchange rate and fees. Number 2, transfer speed. Number 3, security and reliability. Number 4, customer support. Number 5, transfer limits and options. And number 6, regulatory compliance. If you keep this checklist in mind and you're aware of scams, you will pick the best money transfer service. That's it for this video, guys. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to Groww NRI. Until next time, keep growing.